Good morning, YouTube. So what we're doing this video is sticking MaxPeedingRods air spring helper airbag system on this truck. But we have a cool task that we get to go do first. So due to an unfortunate circumstance, we have a car broke down on the side of the road. So what better truck to use than this one? What's gonna look cooler pulling a trailer? Maybe that one. Not that one, this is just a regular old truck. But we're gonna go pick up a car on the side of the road with Maximus. This is gonna be the first time that I put a trailer on this truck since I put these dually wheels on here and the dually fenders. As you can see, the clearance is not that much right there. And that's why I got those airbags for this truck. I really don't want that to bottom out if I put a lot of weight on here. This is just gonna be a car. The trailer's really long, so the weight's gonna be over the axles way out back. I think it'll be fine. If not, then we're gonna be doing some more sheet metal repairing. We're gonna get to see how Maximus does with no airbags, and then later in the video with airbags. We'll see how she does. Here's our MaxPeedingRods setup. We got all the brackets already painted a beautiful blue color. Air hoses, wire loom, wiring harness, relays, fuses, air compressor, controller, booklets, a couple really cool stickers. Already got the other one on my thing over there. It came with these too. So anyway, the other day when I had the Toyota on the back with the trailer, we did not bottom out. That is good news. But the Toyota is toast. The water pump failed and now it has a blown head gasket. So super convenient. So we're gonna start installing this air spring kit. So we have this first air spring set up. She's ready to go on the truck. So these directions here, they tell you pretty well what to do. So the first step is to pull these off the truck. These are 15mm bolts. They came out nice and easy, at least in this case. Hopefully they do if you're doing this. So anyway, what goes next, you bolt this plate, this one with the uprights. You bolt that to your truck, and that uses these Allen head bolts here, and those are HW6. That's the size you got to use to get those installed. But the rest of this whole setup here, this has standard hardware on it. So this swivel here, you want to put this in before this plate, and that's a 1/2 inch. Here's my 1/2 inch. So you tighten that up, obviously, and then it still swivels. And then you screw this plate together with these countersunk screws. Now these have a 7/32 bit in here that you got to use, which I got right here. And then the ones on the bottom here, these are 5/16. Let me flip her over. So these are 5/16, also Allen heads. But now after mocking this up to the truck, I realized I'm gonna have to make my own one of this bottom plate because this already has a 2.5 inch lift, static lift on the leaf springs. So these are meant for stock height truck, and this would bolt straight up to a stock height truck. But I got 2.5 inches. So I'm gonna make my own bracket here. Basically this exact same thing. Now this goes around your leaf spring perch, and then this holds it to that. You bolt it on. I'm thinking I may modify this one. We'll see. It may be easier to do it that way.
But basically just put a 2.5-inch platform right here on the bottom, and then it'll be good to go. This one bolts to the frame up top, and then once we get all this bolted in nice and solid and pretty, then we'll run some air hose and the compressor. Then we'll run our power. This grounds right to the frame the way this looks like to me, and then we'll run a power wire to it, and then we'll have air pressure wherever we want, which we already have a tank on this truck for the air horns. So we're gonna be in good shape. All this is gonna work out real nice.
I got both assemblies put together, but you see I got the 2x4 in there. I'm gonna build my own brackets. That's coming up. But before I do all that, I'm going to run the rest of the system and get it put together. I wanna see how much these can provide a little bit of lift on the back of the truck. So you can hear right now, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but when I push down on the truck, you can hear the airbags expanding and contracting because the 2x4, it's got a little bit of weight on it. But basically, I'm gonna stick 2x4s in there until I get the rest of the system ran, and then I'm gonna turn the controller and see if it raises my truck up at all, and then I might, you know, put another 1/2 inch between the 2x4 and the air spring system. I want it to raise the truck. I want it to have the ability to actually raise the truck just a hair, because dualies are supposed to sit higher in the back. That's just how they're supposed to be. And then with the truck off, you know, it'll sit level and it'll look nice and pretty. So I got this metal here. We got 2 1/8 inch flat pieces, and then we got 2 angle iron pieces. I'm gonna mount my compressor next. That's gonna be the next big process that we're doing. So I'm gonna make my own brackets. I'm gonna come off this cab mount, and then this is my cab mount for this Chevy cab, because obviously the Dodge would have been up here. And then this is a bed mount. So we're gonna go pretty much right in this area, so that way I can go off the front cab mount, and then one back here that goes to the bed mount. So we're gonna time lapse and you guys get to watch. Also, I'm not gonna weld to this. I'm gonna drill and I'm gonna tap it. All right, here's the compressor. It is mounted. I put it where it's just like barely visible under the cab. I mean, when you're standing up, you're not gonna be able to see it. But, you know, if anybody is at a car show and they just wanna peek under here, they'll be able to see this thing pretty easily. So anyway, we just made a little angle bracket there, nice and easy. That one was easy. This one took a little bit of effort over here. But this is solid for sure. So the next course of action here is gonna be run a hose to my air tank. So what I'm gonna do, we got all this hose and even more right here. And we got 3 of these T-fittings, and we got these little air fill nozzle things. Hope there's more compression fittings because that's the only one I'm seeing right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run it around. It's gonna go over the axle, that area where there's like a cross member over the axle. And so it'll have a T, and this will be the main pressure line. So it'll go from the compressor into this. The other side's gonna go to the air tank. This end of the T is gonna come out back here, and I'll have one of these so that way I can fill it from back here. And then once we get to the tank, we'll have another one coming out of the tank, coming back, basically same spot, put another T in it, and then it's gonna go from the T to both airbags over the axle. Now the only dilemma that I have is how I'm gonna get this size hose plumbed into my air tank, because it's all 1/2 inch. My air tank is all 1/2 inch stuff, and then it goes all the way to the front to the air horn. But I have a fill right here. You know, if I put one on the back bumper, it'll be a little easier to get to. But this one, this is full speed. You know, you just connect the air hose to it. But yeah, I'll have to figure out how to get that air hose to connect into this. I guess we'll worry about that here in a minute. All right, so we got our air hose ran all the way back. It is zip tied nice and neat to our emergency brake, well, our parking brake cables. We have us an air hose fitting right there. I just took the cap off. I'm about to manually fill it. Got a T fitting there to go to both airbags, and then another T fitting you can kind of see, and it goes to this fill port. So it fills both of them at the same time. The diagram shows them each having their own separate fill. I figured it'd be easier just to put one fill right there on the main manifold line. Of course, I got 2x4s in here because I have not made my 2.5 inch brackets yet. But I ended up not connecting this to my air tank. And there's 2 reasons why. So the first reason is because the air tank leaks, and I don't want that little electric motor running all the time. And the second reason is because when that pump runs, it goes into the electronic manifold that you have the controller to control. And so if my pressure line going to the tank it's after the electronic manifold in the system, then that's also regulating the amount of pressure that goes into the air tank. So if I was only running these at 30 PSI, I would want more pressure in the tank, because 30 PSI, the air horn sounds like it's sick. We want like 80 PSI for the air horn. So we'll have that run before the electronic manifold to the air tank. So we'll have to run another line. But this plastic line, this is all I have left. It was like the perfect length for what I did. Out of the smaller spool, we still have this really big spool of plastic line that we can use for other things. Here we go. I'm gonna put air in the system. This will be leak check and also to see if they work. Oh, that's super cool. We definitely got an air leak somewhere. So that's 100% raising the truck up. So I got the air leak handled. This has got right about 75 to 80 PSI in it right now. You can see the truck sits a little bit higher. I like it. It's pretty sweet. So here's a video from under the truck. Here's the air nipple. The line goes along the wiring harness here. And then it comes down and tees into the main manifold. And then this one goes to both the airbags. I got it mounted like this so that way it's flexible and has travel with the rear end moving. So there's currently about 75 PSI in these. The truck's about 2 or 3 inches higher. So now I guess what we need to do is either build our brackets down here or start doing the wiring. Well, this is pretty sweet. I don't have this completely finished up yet. We're just ops checking. I put that in the powered mirrors, powered fold-in mirrors fuse, which this truck does not have that. But this thing is lowering right now. I lowered it to 30. That's what preset 1 is. Then 2 is 60. Then preset 3 is 90. I didn't let it go all the way to 90. It would probably take a while. But anyway, yeah, she's just lowering down right now. That's super cool how it's remote controlled. So the diagram shows connect this wire to the negative on the battery. I just connected it right there. There's also ground here that goes to the floor of the cab. So that way the cab is grounded. And then over here, I added another grouping of wires. And this one so far doesn't go to anything. There's nothing on that screw. But then the other one that goes over there, this is my new wiring. It's outside of this wiring loom, and it will be, don't mind this. This is because I took stuff apart. But this is outside the wiring loom. Whenever I take all this crap apart to get the firewall painted, I'll just stuff it in the wiring loom I already got there. We're back to static height. Let's do this. Pretty cool, man. Time to finish up this wiring. Well, we've done it now. I was cutting this big thick piece so I can make these brackets. And I'll let the magic smoke out of this poor little grinder. Oh yeah, she's not happy. Poor thing. Well, that was 10 bucks at a yard sale. So, and it was brand new when I got it. So we got our use out of that one. Let me show you what I got done last night here. So I modified the brackets that MaxPeedingRods sent. I needed about 2.5, 3 inches of lift block back here to fit my springs, because this is for a stock setup. I had to break out the old coffin welder over there. This one would have ended up like that grinder. This is 1/2 inch welded to 1/4 inch. So anyway, we're ready to stick these on the truck this morning. Now that they're not 1,000 degrees to touch, I wire wheeled them. I'm not going to be able to use these either because I have traction bars on this truck, and the traction bars are right directly in the way of where this would be. I'm going to take this thing and basically just form it around the diff like a U-bolt, and then it's going to bolt to the bottom of this plate with probably a 3/8 by 16 screw, since I got a bunch of those and since they sent some extra ones too. But yeah, this is how they look. Of course, I will paint these blue. We got the air springs on the truck. We're about to go test her out. I gotta go run an errand. I gotta go about an hour away, so we're getting pretty good test drive. They're up there. Oh, looks like my axle vent is not connected. That's all right, because I still got more to do under there. We'll just do that later. But yeah, hour-long drive. I gotta go meet up with this dude, and we're gonna take this truck because it's a reasonably nice day. This air spring setup is sweet. I like it a lot. I keep it about 10 PSI, just cruising around. I did have like 30, 35 in here, and it's like riding in a hay wagon. But that'll be good when we get a trailer on here. Anyway, we got our errands done. We're heading back to the house. Hopefully we can get some more done. Also, this interior setup is working out pretty good. Of course, I still need to get some more vents. But yeah, that's nice. So we are back. It is Monday now, of course, just as always. Worked last night, got off 8 this morning, drank a bunch of coffee, and we are back at it, cracking out early in the morning on the truck, minus the crack. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna finish up where we left off last week. So these are installed, but I never did paint my brackets, and I never did reattach my vent line over there for the differential vent. So I'm going to take this all back apart, and while my pretty brand new metal is off the truck, I'm going to pressure wash the frame,
I guess I'll shine up the kit, the MaxPeedingRods kit, because it has brand new powder coat on it, and it's all covered in grease and fingerprints and filth. So I'm gonna shine all that back up, paint the brackets that I made, pressure wash the frame while that's apart, so that way we don't get water spots on the new stuff. And we're gonna wipe it down with microfiber. The whole frame, including these traction bars, specifically the traction bars and the lift up front. But then, now that everything's gonna be nice and pretty, except for this, we're gonna take this to my brother's house this weekend. We're gonna load up the dirt bike and some other goodies, and we're gonna go down there and screw around for the week, and we'll get all that on video. Oh yeah, we washed her down. These are installed, looking good. All right, let's put some air in these guys. All right, we're going up right now. Little pump was going. Got me to 10 PSI right then. Let's go to 30. It's not doing that in person. Huh, that's weird looking. So the truck is coming up just a little bit. Kind of hard to tell. 30 PSI, there it is. I like it, man. These turned out pretty good. I mean, I had to make my own lift brackets for them. They got 30 PSI in there right now. But honestly, the lift brackets look pretty good because they're painted. The color I got is really close to MaxPeedingRods color. I'm happy with them, for sure. Oh yeah, there's not much bounce in the truck at 30 PSI. Let's go to 60 just cause. Anyway, I scrubbed down the rest of the truck, washed the wheels up, cleaned the suspension parts. There is a little bit of a rub area from these big giant tires. I mean, it was rubbing the fender up here, and then I cut out just the bottom lip a while back. So we got full turn radius on these huge giant tires. They're 35s, but they're like 16 wide. But anyway, it does rub back there just a little bit. I mean, it is what it is. Oh yeah, you can really tell there. We come way up.
All right, let's see what she does. Let's go all the way back down to 0 PSI. 0 PSI. Going down. We are all the way back down. Pretty sweet. I like that setup a whole lot. We're gonna have to hook a trailer to it and see how she does like that. We're loaded up. We got 3 hours to go. Put some miles on her today. Find out what this airbag system can do. Check this out. I know this screen's screwed up, but we broke 400,000 miles. I don't know if that's an achievement or not. This is the windshield wiper reservoir light. I know it looks like it probably is a service light or something, but and then that one's cruise control. But yeah, trans temp, we don't even know what that says. But we got the fans on, so we're good. This is the exact intersection where this black Chevy was wrecked. January 2nd, 2016. In this lane right there, actually. Somebody turned, not paying enough attention. Of course, I had the green light. But yeah, we smacked them. Ended up over there in the grass. Poor old black Chevy, but look at us now. There's the black Chevy. Dually fender works pretty good for mixing up 2-smoker fuel. $38 to 1. She could feel the weight this morning. We had 10 PSI in the bags when we started this, and just by lowering it onto the truck. We haven't even moved yet. See what we're looking like here. So it's going up to 30 right now. Let's see what this does. Well, this is with 30 PSI in the bags. This truck just may not be meant for a gooseneck. Let's go to 60. All right, so we got 60 PSI in the bag. Let's go for 90, just cause. All right, we're at 90 PSI. That definitely lifted it up quite a bit. Let's see how she rolls around like this. Just for giggles, let's see what this does at 0 PSI. There's the difference. That's quite a lot. Can't even get our hand through there. Yeah, so MaxPeedingRods airbags, they definitely work. My final overview is of the airbag system. I love it. This would not have been possible without it. So we got 90 PSI in there. We can handle this big load. We're not going out on the roads. We don't need to. There's no point screwing around any more than I already have. But I proved my point here. We can do this. 90 PSI, no problem. So thank you, MaxPeedingRods, for setting Maximus up And then anybody that watches this video, 10% off. You can use the fan code MONSTER. There it is. Well, we're back. Maximus did fantastic, as always. Didn't even bring tools with me. Trust the truck pretty well. Anyway, yeah, that's a 3-hour drive. Stayed down there, hung out with my brother for a while. Rode dirt bike a bunch, shot skeet, blew up some tannerite. But anyway, that's all for this week. We got our MaxPeedingRods airbags kit put on the truck. It was a major success. Probably got at least 4 to 6 inches of movement there, the way I have it on those perches, those 2.5-inch perches that I had to make, since I got the lift blocks under the leaf springs already. This has got 2.5-inch blocks on the suspension. They're literally the exact same truck. And that's, you know, how high the fender sits on a 4th gen. Just the way these are built, made with the low swoop in the fender. That's why I had to do this. But at the end of the day, I think we're successful here. We can definitely put some weight back there and it not be an issue. I think what I decided I'm gonna do is do away with the wood bed and get 1/4-inch plate and stick that in there. Once I get the bed painted and all that, we'll be able to throw sand or gravel or whatever back there. Yes, I'm definitely going to use this truck for working, even after I paint it. But as for next week's video, buy some electric running boards from this dude on Marketplace. We'll see how that works out. I may be pulling the bed off the truck and getting it in primer. Maybe I'll leave it on the truck. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. Also, the Toyota has a blown head gasket, and we done bought a brand new Chevy. So, of course, it's gone because she's at work. But I'm halfway considering whistling diesel in that car, because nobody's going to buy an old ragged out Camry with a blown head gasket, and I'm definitely not going to take the time to fix it. But it still runs and drives just fine. You know, I drove it all over the place the other day. With a hood stack, it might be kind of cool. So one of those things will be the next video. I haven't even decided yet. We'll figure it out, I guess. But anyway, if you have not subscribed yet, definitely do that right now. And once again, 10% off MaxPeedingRods. Use the fan code zhmonster. We'll see you guys next week.